Hey guys, what's going on? So today we're going to be building another paper panzer similar to this one right here. This one though was just taking a kit and then adding on to it to become paper panzer. But today we're going to be taking two vehicles and two kits, smashing them together and creating a new vehicle. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the way I really like building paper panzers is to mash two things together or to kind of reshape a current kit. Now what I'm going to be doing today, so I'm going to be taking an old King Tiger kit and an old Tiger 1 kit, putting them together and seeing what I get. So like I said, we're going to be mashing two kits together, and the way we're going to be going about this is we're going to be taking the King Tiger hull and then placing a Tiger 1 turret on top. Now, as you can see, it's a bit of an interesting looking vehicle. It's definitely not exactly proportional, and it has some interesting looks to it. But I think this will kind of go with the camouflage we'll be using, and also the fact that it is a paper panzer. You know, it's that 1946, hodgepodge design where they're throwing things together. So I really think this will probably end up well. So I'm going to begin by taking off all the tools and cables because I want this kit to kind of look a bit more clean, and I made a lot of mistakes while putting these on originally. I'm going to sand it down a bit just because, then it'll actually be smooth, and I'm going to add some putty to actually, fill in all those gaps that were originally there. And I'm also going to be basically just taking some King Tiger tracks and putting those onto those parts of the Tiger turret that holds the tracks. And I think it looks cool because they're a bit more thick and big, and they'll look a lot more like armor than the Tiger 1's tracks, which are a little bit more proportional. But I do think that these tracks do add a little bit more character to this kit. So I'm going to begin painting by adding this coat of black. This is basically just going to blend all the colors together, mostly because the King Tiger hull and the Tiger 1 turret are two different colors, so it wouldn't look well if I just started the painting process from there. So I wanted to get a good base. Now I'm just going to be using some Mission Models Red Oxide and just spraying that over the full vehicle. It did take a lot of coats, mostly because it was very thin paint. Alright, so here she is after that coat of red oxide. I can definitely say that it looks a lot more uniform, and it looks, I think, a lot more menacing. You can see that I have left off the hatch. It is right here. I'm going to be painting this yellow as the camouflage on this vehicle. Sorry, I haven't told you, but we're basically going to be doing stripes of yellow along the vehicle, mostly because late war they had very little paint. And the reason why this is mostly red oxide is because they don't have enough paint to paint it, so they're just going to try breaking up the lines with that yellow streaks. Anyhow, the reason why the gun barrel is not painted is because I'm going to paint it the German gray, the Panzer gray. I also have not painted the tracks really because they really wouldn't be painted red oxide as that is the base coat for the vehicle. Also, my plan is to keep these wheels down here, the red oxide, but then paint these up here, kind of the yellow color. Also, I have left off some wheels just because, again, I'm thinking, late war, they don't have enough supplies. So anyway, now that you've seen how it is here, we're going to move right on into the yellow. Alright, and here she is after that camo. I do actually really like this, and I think it looks really cool with the red oxide and the yellow blotches and streaks. So yeah, I really like it a lot, and I did, as you can see, paint the barrel that German gray. The next thing I'll be doing is adding markings, and I'm going to be using some stencils. If you don't know what a stencil is, it's basically just a photo etch sheet that does have something, in this case numbers in it. And what we're going to be doing is placing that onto the vehicle and spraying some white paint onto it. I think, judging from my past experiences, that stencils look extremely good compared to decals, mostly because decals you can see film, and they're a little bit too clean for me, but stencils, they really look good, mostly because you're actually painting. So as you can see here, I'm starting out by spraying some Tamiya XF1 through that stencil and painting it. Now that we are tearing it off and taking the paint off, you can see that it definitely does look like a real vehicle. And the nice thing also about stencils is, as you can see through that vision port, it goes right over it, or a decal. You're going to have some issues, and you might have some bubbles, which will cause silvering. So this is why I really like stencils, and as you can see, it just looks really good. So in addition to those numbers, we're also going to be painting on a first SS marking, and I didn't really like how it turned out. It was kind of caked on once I took off the masking and the stencil, so I just went ahead and redid that, and I think it looks a lot better now that I've redone it. But yeah, you can see how it's all blotchy. Now that all the markings are off, we're just going to begin weathering by bringing out all the low points, all the crevices, and all the kind of hatches on the vehicle. And we're going to be using some Tamiya black panel liner, and it really makes the vehicle look a lot more realistic by bringing out those areas in the vehicle that are a bit lower than the surface. And it really makes it look a little bit more grimy and gritty, and kind of just brings out some personality in the vehicle. And I definitely think it helps with making it look a lot more realistic. Okay, so now I have gone ahead and actually painted the wheels and attached them. Because these are steel wheels, I did paint silver on the bottoms and on the rims. I did make a couple mistakes, like right there, but I will easily be able to fix that with weathering. I also went ahead and made the teeth here also silver, because of course they get worn down. I did the same on the other side too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start working on the tracks. So when I first took this kit out, if you hadn't noticed, I had these tracks, these horrible rubber band tracks that have been pretty much kind of screwed up by me. So what I'm going to be doing is taking some tracks from a Yog Tiger kit and using these. So we're going to get right into that. Alright, so here's the tracks, and I do think they look really good, but the reason why I didn't show you as I put them on and that process was because it was a really long and tedious process, so I just didn't think it'd be good if I had a really long time lapse of me putting on tracks, since they're not exactly the most fun thing to watch. But here they are, and I think they do look pretty good with the slope of them, so yeah. Alright, so fast forward a little bit, I've added on a couple small details, including the machine gun and the line that brings out power to the headlight. And now we're really going to start doing our actual weathering, and we're going to be using the Tamiya pigments. They're actually really nice and they help out a lot. But before we do that, we're going to first just basically get the tracks weathered. And the reason why I do the tracks first is because if you have a vehicle that's really dirty and then tracks that aren't, it looks really bad. So I always start out with the tracks just so I know, how much weathering I need to do on the vehicle. So the process I'm doing here is I'm basically just taking some Tamiya Flat Earth, the acrylic. I'm watering it down, and I'm just streaking it along the tracks and on the vehicle, just making the entire thing a bit more grimy with that one uniform color, just as a base coat for the weathering, just so we can have a solid, dirty look before we add things on, such as pigments. Alright, so now I'm going to start out with pigments, with some dirt pigments and some tan pigments, just adding them to places like the fenders, places that would obviously have dust kicked up, because this vehicle in my mind would mostly be fighting in the city, such as Berlin. So that's why I'm really just focusing on the fenders first. And in addition to that, I'm also going to do the turret, because that's a place where the crew would walk on. So now that we've finished up with the dirt, I'm just going to be adding some rust. I'm going to be starting out with the tracks, but I'm also going to be adding a lot of streaks and areas to the vehicle that would indeed collect rust. Alright, and here she is as a completed kit. I really had fun with this video, because I was able to take two old model kits that I built as a novice modeler, bring it together with my skills, and I think I made it look pretty cool. So yeah, it was really fun to do, and I hope you guys also enjoyed it, learned a little bit from it, and kind of, I think it shows you what you can do with some imagination, some old kits. So thank you for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll really quickly just show you a slideshow of some close-ups of the vehicle. So thank you all again for watching, and I hope you guys have a really great day. Thank you.